a better Nigeria? Is it a myth, or do we keep hoping?
Nigeria is a highly religious country. How come corruption thrives?
Why is adoption not encouraged in Nigeria?
Is there a future for the Nigerian youth?
Being rich and famous, is that the only drive to be an artist?
What makes a great nation? Is it the leaders? What about the people?
This is Answers with Dr. Reju.
Hello, listeners. This is Answers with Dr. Reju. My name is Bobby, and I'm standing in for Obi tonight. We have Dr. Reju once again tonight with us. Dr. Reju.
Thank you, Bobby.
Yeah. We have Matt in the house today.
Thanks, Bobby.
And we have Agada Michael.
Thanks, Bobby.
And we have someone also with us in the studio today, Ejiro by name.
Thank you very much, Bobby.
Yeah. This evening, we are going to be talking about something that is very common to every one of us. We want to ask ourselves, what exactly is religion? Because that is a common factor for every one of us in this country. And so tonight, we'd like to ask Dr. Reju, what's your take? What do you have to say about religion?
Good evening, guys. And that's a very, very important word, which I believe we need to clarify. Because religion is a word that over the ages, it has lost its meaning, its real meaning. So much so that if you look at contemporary dictionaries and things like that, the moment you see the word religion, they tie it to something else that is totally not what it actually describes. You know, there is a course of study called etymology, which is the study of words. Now, if you look at the etymology of the word religion, it is from a Latin word, which I can't pronounce right now, which basically means, which describes the way boundaries are set. Let me say that again. Religion means setting boundaries, creating limitations, right? And it has to do with basically how humans in a society relate with one another. That is, I understand that I am not alone in this space. My own freedom must not trample, must respect, right, the freedom of another. So it's a way of setting boundaries. That's really what that word religion literally means. Setting boundaries. But you see, over the years, we have taken the word religion. The moment we hear it, our mind goes to one place, either a mosque or a church. You made reference to filling forms. Yeah. Religion, you know, basically means what faith do you profess? Now, faith is totally different from religion. But that's what over the years we've come, you know, to use to describe religion. Maybe as we go on in the program, we'll be able to, you know, properly draw this distinction. Because religion is how humans relate with one another in a society. Why faith is the way I relate, you know, with a spiritual authority, God, so to say. And now, that my relationship with that God is something I have personally consented to. Religion, for instance, in a country, what's the religion of a country? It is their constitution. What is sacred in a country? What is unquestionable in a country? It is their constitution. And if you look at the way constitutions are born, is also people who will come together that, okay, we are going to accept the authority of what is contained in this book. Right? So that's why the constitution always starts with the people. We have agreed that we are going to vote for a president. And that president has a mandate to govern us, to serve us. So the constitution for a country is its religion. Is what embodies its religion. That's the reason why, even for faith-based organizations, church, mosque, or whatever, they must be registered by the religious authority, which is the Constitution. Right? So, whatever religion, whatever faith that people profess that is not registered, guaranteed by the Constitution, it's called a secret cult. They are outlawed. So that's people must now begin to understand this. That if you are a Nigerian, a Muslim, a Nigerian, a Christian, a Nigerian, an animist, a Nigerian, a traditional worshipper, something unites us. That's our Constitution. You can't practice your animism. You can't practice your Christianity or Muslim or Islam or whatever in a way that affects the way I practice mine. Because all are guaranteed, they are regulated by the religion of that country, which is the Constitution. I hope this is clear, guys.
Yes. And Dr. Reggie is seeming to bring something up about setting boundaries.
Yeah.
Setting boundaries for people within a geographical location.
Yeah.
And that takes us closely back to what we were discussing over the past episodes about education in this side of the country. And we are looking at how it's connected. Would you like to say that education and religion are like two sides of the same coin? Is there any connection between educating people about the setting boundaries they should not go beyond?
That's a very good question. Any education curriculum that's worth its salt, either formal, informal, from family setting to classroom, the one thing that must not be missing is educating people about nationhood. About nationhood. I've said it many times, maybe on this program, in other kind of settings, that one of the challenges we have in Nigeria is that we've lost a sense of history. We don't know, when you see a nation where there's no patriotism, when people are not passionate about their country, you see, there's something I saw when Brazil hosted the World Cup. When they sing the national anthem of Brazil, the passion from children to adults, they cry. You see, that's where education comes in. Those people their nation, it has been introduced to them in such a way that this is your life. That's what they tell soldiers, when they get enlisted in the army. It's pride for you to die for your nation. They love it. Soccer, they said, to put on the colors of your country. So education as what is sought must first of all promote nationhood. Because whatever gives people identity is so critical. If I call myself a Nigerian, I have a lot of friends especially from the United States. When you say, where are you from? You don't just say, I'm an American. I am from the United States. You say, do you know the way they put it in your face? Yeah. They put it in your face. And I've learned to also tell them, I am a Nigerian. Proud. I am from the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I say that with but I have to teach myself to take pride in the green passport. Right? I take it as a personal responsibility that I am a committed, faithful, responsible, patriotic citizen of Nigeria. So any education that's worth its salt must first of all promote nationhood. Because whatever that person is going to do, if he's going to relate with any other kind of person from another race, from another kind of nation, he must have a starting point. So education from family to school, elementary, high school, tertiary, that sense must be there. You see, if that is there, if we have been educated properly, on this program we spend a lot of time talking about civic education and things like that. It's part of it. That person, honestly, will not likely loot the treasury because he understands religion. There are boundaries. He understands stewardship. I'm here to serve. I know my boundaries. I can't pilfer because of the way it affects others. If I bribe a policeman, I have violated the boundaries Because me bribing a policeman, I'm not being protected. I am making myself and another person vulnerable. It's so, closely connected. Education and religion. It's because you need to be educated for you to understand the power of religion.
Well, Dr. Reggie, I think I'm a little bit confused because we grew up to understand the definition of religion in a certain light.
Yeah.
Now, because as you kept speaking, a lot of things kept going through my mind. I started wondering, there are a lot of words we use, especially as Nigerians, that we really don't know the meaning.
Absolutely.
Some of them I really not even have a meaning per se. Like I hear a lot of people say, pay what you owe instrumentally. Right? And we know that there's nothing, in the dictionary like instrumentally. We only know, you can rightly say pay in installments.
Yeah.
The same.
We
Absolutely.
just coined it.
We just coined it. It's a phrase that has been coined. Yeah. You pay it in installments.
Yes, in installments. And I think that's the same way our perception of religion has, developed over the years.
Yeah.
And then, now, what the question I really want to, where I need clarity is, I now have to go back to Bobby's question, right? Then what has been educating us, right? How did we come to this point that it was not consciously agreed, right?
we've
that
accepted
we
it.
things this way.
Yeah, that's
it.
where you see the power of narratives. Because sometimes culture, tradition is not something we learn formally. It just happens gradually, it creeps in, and we begin to, because we get to a point where we no longer question it. We just accept. We just accept, and we use those two words interchangeably. And again, the point is, some people who have the understanding over the ages, because they don't want to respect those boundaries, right? They sort of deploy those words in ways that can give them the freedom to oppress, to override the boundaries. So they sometimes it is intentional. Sometimes people have an agenda to actually, somebody says something, off air about Karl Marx, defining religion as the opium of the masses. You see, that's what happens when you interchange religion and faith. Right? When you interchange religion and faith. Because the word opium is that which numbs, which makes somebody inactive. Because the moment, for example, in Nigeria, we have seen that play out. That once something puts on a religious toga, we no longer question. That is what, and you can't go to public space and say, for instance, this is what God says. That's a dialect, right? It's a dialect. It's a local language. It can't be put in public space, right?
I hope a lot of people out there.
It cannot be. You see, it's not whether people are. I'm doing my best, honestly, sincerely, to educate people. That's the whole essence of this program. I want to clarify, and honestly, in doing that, we might not avoid offending people. I say something in this country, when you say, talk to a politician, are you going to contest and say, I want to go and pray about it? That is dangerous. That's dangerous. You will say in a public space, let me see what the Constitution provides. What kind of room the Constitution gives me. What kind of platform the Constitution gives me to be able to run for that office. What opportunities, what challenges I need to be able to. Because the only document, right, that guarantees, that protects, that limits, that frees me, that liberates me to operate in that office is the Constitution. You can go pray about it, but it is not for public space. It's a dialect. It's vernacular. That is a product of faith, and faith is personal. You can only live out faith and it becomes observable, but you don't bandy the words in a public space.
But Dr.
Am
Reggie,
I clear?
Yeah, but once some, religious, clergies or clerics out there now look at it that if I do that, right, I try as much as possible to interpret religion, right, as a Nigerian from the standpoint of the Constitution.
Of the Constitution.
And then I talk about my personal faith, in a more, organized, more structured setting, where it is right, it is okay to talk about it. A lot of people might interpret it as being shy of what I believe in.
No. You see, that's where we get a lot of things wrong. You see, when you mix faith, right, for example, and politics, look at it globally. You only have one outcome. It's oppression. It's oppression. Because you want to, whosoever doesn't agree with your faith now becomes an enemy of the state. Right? And faith is not something you legislate. You can't legislate peace. You can't legislate faith. Right? Because you seem to now interpret maybe diplomacy or international relations now in light of national interest. If another nation, you see, that's the reason why you cannot legislate a particular kind of faith. You cannot, I hope I'm not going to run into trouble with this. You cannot, for a nation, it erodes human ingenuity. It erodes human choice. Right? My understanding of theology is that God offers himself, right? And then he expects you to take a decision based on the way he offers himself. He never forces you. That's my understanding. And that's without prejudice to any faith, right? Okay? I hope I'm not putting myself, but the point is this. I'm trying to look at religion now as a public kind of phenomenon. It many times we mix it with faith. Faith is personal. It's personal. Religion is how I relate with every other human within a society. I think if I anchor it on that, maybe it can provoke more thought, and honestly, I will be willing. And we really want people out there to interact with us. To really interact with us and seek more clarification. Honestly, the whole motive for this is to educate, is to clarify.
Thank you. This is Answers with Dr. Reggie. Today we have been discussing about the topic religion, and we have come to say in the first time out that we have understood religion, as Dr. Reggie said it to be, that it's something that creates boundaries for people in a place. He also said that this nation has a constitution as its religion. And for someone that is outside there, that is a lay person, I'm sure his head right now is thinking, what are we trying to do here? What are we really saying? Yeah, I want to get to know completely what these people mean. So do I get to carry a form tomorrow and they ask me religion and I feel constitution? What would be? So Dr. Reggie, we want you to give a brief recap of what religion is for those just joining us.
Like Bobby rightly said, it's a way by which boundaries are set so that relationship between persons in a society are, regulated for peace, for mutual benefit, for prosperity. It is actually, like I said, before, that is what gives identity to a nation and its people. And then, you see, where we're missing something here is that we are, especially maybe in Africa, where the constitution is very weak, where we develop people more than systems, more than institutions. That's why we can't see how powerful, how sacred, without fear of, contradiction here, how sacred that book is, the Constitution. For instance, you can't just come out and say, I'm an adult. Right? The Constitution gives a definition of who an adult is. You can't just say, I am married. The Constitution regulates marriage. Your marriage must be recognized by the Constitution, right, before it is accepted in that society. It must tally, must fit into the provisions of the Constitution. You know, the Constitution gives us identity. A church can't just spring up. A business can't just spring up. A mosque can't just spring up. The Constitution gives it validity. That's how powerful the Constitution is, right? So it's the rights and the privileges of every human being in that society is enshrined the way they say it. And that's the reason why somebody can't just come and with a stroke of the pen change the Constitution. Because the Constitution is what gives us personhood in that society. So it's that once the Constitution is no longer respected, what you have is, it's a brutish, it's a lawless society. You kill somebody. What restrains you from killing somebody in anger is the Constitution. Right? It's the Constitution. Do you know those who interpret it? Listen carefully to this. Those who interpret the Constitution are called what? Lords. In a court, they are called Lord. When you enter a court, the guy who sits, as the custodian of that Constitution is your Lord. The word Lord, again, is another word that it has lost its meaning. The word Lord means owner. Your landlord is the owner of your house. Mm-hmm. So when you enter a court and you say, "My Lord," you say he owns you. He can send you to death. That's how powerful. Now, what gives that man, that woman, the power is that book. Constitution. He can't just make a proclamation that you go and kill this guy. He has to back it up with the provisions of that Constitution. So civilization is we being able to understand, the authority of that book, what's in it. That's why it regulates everything. You can't grab somebody on the street and say, "We want to marry." Go to the registry. That's why the marriage that is contracted in a mosque or church is not valid until, right, the Constitution, the government through the Constitution recognizes it. Yeah. Matt.
Yeah, well, there's another narrative, right, that we've been hearing. It's like a refrain. Don't mix religion and politics. Right? And I want to ask this question, looking at what's happening in Kaduna State.
All right.
Now, I want you to throw more light on that, because a lot of people are now saying, they want to mix religion and politics here, and, they're trying to promote an agenda. I've been able to get a lot of feelers from, the Christian community, but I've not really been able to hear anything from the Islamic community. So I really can't say, but with all of this now, I need to understand.
You see, the problem, right? When you hear something that happens in Kaduna State, depending on where you start your story from, is going to color your interpretation of it. When you hear El Rufai, I just got back from Ethiopia, and it's so amazing that if you hear Abdul Salami, he might not be a Muslim. Yeah, he might not be a Muslim. You can't know them by their name. You can't know their faith by their name. But it's different here. So when you hear El Rufai trying to make a law that said they should license churches, number one, you have missed it big time. Because that bill, I have read portions of it, it didn't say, it's not about licensing churches. It is licensing what we now call religious organizations. So it's both mosques and churches. But when you hear El Rufai, who by that name is a Muslim, so depending on where you are reading it from, you already. But number one, that law is not new. I think that law was first of all promulgated after the Matasini riots.
Wow.
Yeah.
We need to know that.
After the Matasini riot, that was when that law came. And what that particular law then was even towards the Islamic religion. it actually said that they shouldn't use some phrases. It shouldn't use some phrases like infidel, like anti-Islamist, and all those kind of things. It had nothing to do with church then. So, you see, people, when we spoke about the civic education, one thing I said then was that we don't protest from an informed position. A lot of people talking out that they have not read that bill. They need to go read that bill. So, number one, that thing is not anti-Christian, neither is it pro-Islam. Right? It is, Kaduna State has its own uniqueness. It has its own uniqueness, maybe like our own state here, where, so it is to be able to, that is where again, you need to see El Rufai in that place as somebody who is championing the cause of the Constitution. If that guy had come out to just go to a mosque, remove your loudspeaker, don't use microphone, then he might be doing something. The guy has gone through the way of law. Right? He has gone through the way of law. And he has not signed something in the law. He's taken to the house. I believe in that house, they are supposed to be representatives of the people. So that whatever comes out of there, we can say we the people.
Yeah.
So, you see, it's because we don't understand the power of law. Law is religion. So when someone says, I don't mix religion with politics. No, politics is religious. By nature. Because the word polit means people. The arrangement of people. The word polit. Politics. So somebody cannot say, I'm not a politician. No, every human being is a politician. Politics is the means by which human beings are arranged in a society. So politics and religion are interwoven. Politics actually gives religion to a society. Yeah. It gives religion. You see,
No, this is.
so what we are trying to say we shouldn't mix is faith and politics.
Yeah. Dr. Reggie, this is a very interesting discussion. And honestly, we do not have all the time on the radio today to really break this. But we believe that our listeners and those who are interacting with us have actually come a long way to get certain things clarified for them. But if you want to listen to this episode again, you have the privilege of listening to it on www.answerswithdrredu. It's our website where you can download this episode and past episodes of Answers with Dr. Redu. Let me repeat that for you, www.answerswithdrredu. You can continue with us on 081 4456 9000. Let me take that again, 081 4456 9000. Honestly, thank you, Dr. Redu, for this time. Thank you, Ejiro, for your contributions. Thank you, Matt, and thank you, Michael.